today. I'll be speaking about the marketing and operations role in the gaming industry. So the bar is set really high after the previous guests, but I hope you'll find my presentation interesting and have yourself a few takeaways from that. So here's what we will go through today. I'd like to intro myself and tell you a bit more about why gaming is for you, even though you might not have any previous experience in the industry, how to transfer your skills to the more gaming-focused roles, and in the end, tell you a bit more about the differences in working for startups and corporations in the gaming industry. So to start with a little intro of myself. So I'm the founder and creator at It's Verge. So as you may connect the dots, I'm organizing this event. So I took the privilege of inviting myself as a speaker as well. I'm involved in an exciting esports project I can't really say much about now, but we'll reveal the information next week. I'm also the ambassador of Her Impact and Women in Games because, well, talking about women in gaming industry is just really close to my heart, and I want people to know many experts from our sector. And before that, I was the games business operation manager and a team lead for Central Eastern Europe at Huawei. I was also an interim CEO at Hydra Games, which is a tiny mobile game studio, not mobile games, sorry, game studio from Poland. And I was the marketing and PR manager at Movie Games that some of you may know from our Polish gaming playground. So why should you think that is gaming even a career choice for me? Well, I'd like to tell you a bit more about the gaming industry nowadays and why it is something different than it was a few years back. So to start with, in 2020, gaming as the entertainment category actually generated more revenue than movies and music sectors together, which is a massive change in terms of the weight of sectors in the entertainment industry. Also, gaming as a sector is still the emerging market. What does it mean for you as a marketer is that you can essentially create your role, define new paths inside the industry, and develop your skills beyond that and interact with the gaming industry in many ways that I'll tell you more about in a few minutes. Well, in general, I think that gaming is fun, is a challenge, but it's also a future of entertainment. So to find your way inside the sector, it's really useful for your future, and it can be very beneficial when it comes to the satisfaction from the work you're doing. And what I truly believe is that gaming is a space for everyone, and you can really, really find your way through, even having the most incredible ideas when it comes to what you should do in your life. So I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the job as a scan artist. It might not be very much a marketing role, but it's actually really exciting. I found it yesterday, and the scan artist is actually someone who is paid to travel to different locations and make pictures and videos of the place they're traveling to. So it's a job from Epic Games. You can search it later in the Google. But actually, this job exists. So you see, like the sky is the limit here when it comes to deciding what is your future in gaming. And to give you a bit of overview, well, this slide is quite heavy, but I'll share the graphic later. It's a graphic that actually got a lot of attention a few months back in gaming industry, because it shows that, gaming has started not that long time ago, like when it comes to arcade and console games, but when the mobile actually joined the gaming world, it actually spiked almost vertically up. And now we have also a VR, a cloud, and a metaverse coming. So there is really a lot on the plate. And yeah, you might ask yourself a question that even if you're, a bit crappy gamer yourself and you may not nail all the leaderboards and rankings, whether it's a place for me, the gaming at all. So, well, I think that there are no excuses to, not trying. And here's why. So if you love games, I really believe that would do, because before game was a product, but now game is actually something even more. It can be a platform, a communication channel that will allow you to actually market and promote other products inside the game. So it's a bit twisted, as the Tenet movie was, at least for me, but I think you can find your way around that. So in the essence, game was a product. You advertised a game, but now gaming become like the place where communities are created, and you can advertise other products inside the game. So what does it mean for the marketers? Well, it means a lot of fun, because it doesn't matter whether you're gonna advertise the game itself or you work in FMCG or fashion or even politics. You will at some point, be able to cross your path with the gaming industry and do amazing activations within. So let's start with a few examples of games as we know them. And I really, really like this slide because it shows that games are a product that has to be advertised by itself. The first example with Cristiano Ronaldo is actually a super popular mobile game called Garena Free Fire, and they partnered with Ronaldo. So as you can see, the famous people are actually included in the advertising of games, what brings them a bit closer to the mainstream. Same applies to the AFK Arena RPG, where Ilya Hud from Lords of the Ring was a star of their latest campaign. But also, I think everyone's super familiar with the Keanu Reeves example and the Cyberpunk. So I won't get much into detail with that, but celebrities are really becoming an important part of the gaming industry. But there are other examples that actually go beyond just, adding a famous face to the game itself. One of my favorite examples is this, little green thingy here. I'm not sure if all of you've heard about the Wild Rift from Riot Games, but what they did, so Wild Rift is a mobile game, and it was released last year. And what Riot did with the lab somewhere in Asia, I'm sorry for being an ignorant here, but I really don't remember the university that was participating in that, but they partner up to actually create the fruit that is normally inside the game. So they, harvested that in real life, and you can actually try it and taste it, and it supposedly tastes like grapes. But you see, gaming is going way beyond just, simple marketing campaigns. And the next thing is the Adidas partnering with CD Projekt to release the gaming-inspired apparel, and that becomes a part of heavy marketing activities as well. And then in the end, there is this recent bit with Wild Rift again, where characters from the game were actually starring on the photo shooting in Elle magazine. So you can see that gaming become more and more pervasive when it comes to entering different industries than just the tech one. And here's another part that I'm really excited about, and I really love to talk about it because I think that this is the new way of advertising many products. So games as the new communication channel. And what does it mean? So here you can find 6 examples of collaboration between the brands and the gaming titles. First of them is the Travis Scott show, Astronomical, in Fortnite. Personally, one of my favorite gaming and music collabs. of last year. So essentially, Travis Scott did a performance inside Fortnite, and you can find it on YouTube. It's amazing. I watched that like dozen times. Even yesterday, when I was brushing my presentation, I couldn't miss the chance to listen to that again. And the second one is the bit where North Face, once they collaborated with Gucci, on the top of that, they collaborated with the Pokemon Go. Why? Because their customers, their potential customers, enjoy playing Pokemon Go. It's super popular, especially in Asian countries, and for those recipients, for those potential clients, the presence of the brands such as Gucci inside the game they like, it's the place where, which is like a very not interruptive touch point for them. So it's great to see how fashion brands actually get into the gaming industry. The next one is a bit controversial because Alicia Cortez is one of the politicians in the US. And last year, she played on Twitch in Among Us. Among Us, it's like a mobile game that actually boomed last year, and people love that. You can find like tons of videos on Twitch, on YouTube, on TikTok, everywhere, essentially. And Alicia played this game on Twitch, and that actually caused a lot of discussion around, the fact that politics are entering the entertainment industry, and the fact that the line is blending, right? So you actually have the politicians that supposed to be, judged only by their visions, by their plans, etc. And then they're becoming the, players of your game. So of course you're building the emotional rapport with them. And you see, gaming is super powerful because it can easily blend the line between various industries. Same applies to the premiere of the latest Star Wars that took place in Fortnite. Not the whole movie, but a few scenes firstly were showcased in Fortnite. The middle one below, like the middle one on the downline, is the collaboration of League of Legends with Louis Vuitton, where Louis Vuitton, famously known for their suitcases, designed the bag for the trophy for League of Legends. And the last one is the fashion collab between Louis Vuitton and League of Legends. So again, targeting the Asian customers. And yeah, sorry, one more thing about that. So as you can see, even working in different industry than gaming, you can actually do the activities around gaming itself. You can work in music, you can work in fashion, you can even work in politics and still find a way to do your campaigns inside the game. So this is like new thing, and I think we will see much more collaborations in the future. But there is even more to gaming than, producing games and being presented inside the games. So let's say that you're thinking about the marketing role, but your previous experience was, not in the fashion, not in the entertainment sector in general, but you have an experience working as a marketeer for a technology company, or you actually are super passionate about the educational path in marketing, and you'd like to do more research, or maybe you worked in the agency. Well, you can still find your place in gaming, because you see, gaming is like a big word. Inside the gaming, you have like game dev, esports, game tech. There are B2B solutions. You can develop the career as the researcher in the marketing sector focused on games. This is really much needed now on the market, especially with more and more brands entering the market. They need to measure the impact of their activities somehow. And this is, the area that haven't been really explored much. You can also work in the gaming agencies that are focused on, building the rapport between the brands and the gaming world. And this is really exciting path. And you can also work for platforms such as Twitch or the companies like Google or Huawei or Apple, where you can focus on developing the technological solution and well, not developing, but from my perspective, marketing them, right? That's something I did at Huawei. And even though Huawei is not a producer of the games itself, it is strongly focused on gaming communities, and it still requires activities around that. So even though you might not have previous experience in game dev, in gaming in general, but you love games, you can still find yourself a way with the prior experience in marketing industry, even from different sectors, than purely games. So here's a bit more about the skills transferability. And you might think like, I like to play games, right? But this might not be enough. And you can think that I don't have any previous experience in this industry, so why should I apply for any position in the gaming? Well, the fact that you have no experience in gaming precisely doesn't mean that you cannot score your dreamed role. So I'd like to suggest to you to start by reading multiple job offers in the gaming industry, because you might not even know how many opportunities lie ahead. As we've discussed on the previous slides, you know, there are like games with the game development studios. There is the esports sector with the tournament organizers. There is the more like purely marketing side with the agencies that are focused on bridging the gap between brands and the gaming industry. There are platforms as Twitch or Huawei or Google or any other brand of that kind. So what you should start with is to understand the industry, to go through many job offers, to understand where is your place. Because you, like, once reading the offer, you might find the advert as the, you know, scan artist, right? I've never heard of that before. You probably didn't as well. But, you know, just by doing the research, by getting to know the industry, you may find yourself a way into that. And, you know, finding the job that actually will bring you the satisfaction and the happiness. And after doing the research, identifying the job positions you might be interested in, try to identify the skills you have that match the job description. So let's say that you worked as the account manager prior to starting your research in gaming for your new role. This is a perfect fit for partnership roles at Twitch, Huawei, or TikTok, Google. All those companies, they need people to take care of their clients in many sectors, but gaming as well. So having the experience in handling the accounts and in enabling the cooperation with the clients from the agency perspective, you have the perfect skill set to actually address the same needs when it comes to gaming clients. Of course, there are also gaming agencies that you can look for the job in, and that's the, well, perfect fit. It's also the agency, right? So they're just focused on games. And your experience from different sectors might actually come beneficial to working with agencies in the gaming sector, because you'll understand the client that are coming from non-endemic brands. And maybe you have experience organizing the events. So, you know, gaming world is really waiting for you. Just type in YouTube the name of ESL or DreamHack or Blast and find the tournaments they've organized. Of course, we are now in the pandemic times where it might not be that big, but in the same time, you know, the industry is still alive. They're organizing the online events. They're organizing the streaming. And the fact that you have the experience, you know what traps are on the way to organize the event, might come super beneficial in this industry as well. Like gaming event is the event like, you know, any other when it comes to the basics of organizing that, when it comes to planning the event. The target group is different, but still, you need to plan it, you need to organize it, you need to hire people, you need to rent the stage, the venue, everything. So here's the place for you as well. Maybe you worked as the paid media specialist, so you should explore more the mobile industry. That would be my suggestion. And the entry roles within actually can benefit largely from your experience in the paid media sector. Maybe you were a community or social media manager at any brand. Well, if you prove your passion for gaming and the knowledge of gaming communication channels such as Discord or Reddit, you are basically in, because you know how to take care of people, you know how to respond, you know that you need to develop the answers to special questions that your community may ask, that there is an FAQ, that there is a way of handling a certain situation. It still applies in gaming as well. And in the end, maybe you're a graphic designer in the agency. Well, try the commercial graphics role at game dev studios to start with, or maybe apply for the role in the gaming agency again. So, you know I talked a lot on this slide, but I really think that, the most important thing is to understand that gaming is the business like any other, and the roles within are actually very similar to the roles within any other sector of entertainment. So if you identify your skill set and you can prove your passion for gaming, then you really have a chance to get to the industry. Because what is super important, and what I personally focus on once I'm recruiting, is the passion for the industry. You can, the right attitude. You can get the experience, but you can't develop the attitude. So if you love gaming and you identify your skill set, sprinkle it with your love for gaming. So maybe start writing a blog about marketing trends in gaming industry. Publish it on LinkedIn, Medium, find your audience, and later once you're applying, once you're creating your CV, you can link your blog there and show that you actually have been observing the industry for a while, that you have the understanding of what is happening in there. And this is also a great report to connect with the specialists from the industry, to approach them for the quote, to approach them for the opinion, to show that you really care for what's happening inside the sector. If you're the artist, if you're the creative soul, then create Instagram with your artwork. Tailor your graphic portfolios to match the role requirement. I recently spoke to a girl who is working for one of the biggest gaming companies, and she was studying architecture, and she had no portfolio for gaming industry. But after a few gigs in gaming for the smaller studios, she actually dreamed about the role in the place she's working now. And what she did, she took a non-paid leave, and she focused on developing a portfolio focused on the style of the company she was applying for. Because, this way, she published it on her social media. She reached out to a few people who were already in the industry for their feedback, and it just went viral. And someone from the company actually saw her. Of course, this story is she had a lot of luck that, her art was in the good place, and the people whom she wanted to approach actually saw her first, because she got the job offer from them. But if you just develop the portfolio, you send it to the company of your dreams, and they will see that you are the right match for the you're the right match for the industry. Then it will just work, and they will see that you're actually passionate about what you're doing. So if you are, for example, in the community management, then you need to maybe organize a group or apply to become a moderator of your favorite games community. Learn the vocab that functions inside the community. Observe the trends, and you'll get in. And if you're, for example, thinking about the platform, start streaming. Maybe not, your goal shouldn't be to become the influencer, but your goal might be to actually understand the platform, its capabilities, and to understand what is possible on the platform, like on the Twitch, for example. You will show on the recruitment in the recruitment process later that you know the place you want to work in. And for example, and last but not least, to even if you don't have any previous experience in any prior experience in game dev, in esports, or in gaming in general, just sign up for a free game design courses. You know, not even to become the game designer, but to understand the game development process. There are plenty of them on the platform, such as Coursera, Udemy, or any other platform. And in the end, nail your CV. So match your experience with the points about your passion, but also remember about the legibility of your CV. So, you know, make it transparent, clear, or make it super creative. Jessica Sandel, my guest from the podcast, she was working in the agency, and she was working as the creative director. It wasn't a gaming agency. It was the regular marketing advertising agency. And she created super creative resume. She talks about that more on the episode we recorded. But she sent that to Rovio, and she got a job. She didn't have experience, but she showed her passion. So yeah, let's say that I already convinced you and you are ready to go. You know, gaming, I'm coming. You're super pumped, motivated, and inspired. But where you should actually go? So I just want to point you a few differences between working for startups and smaller companies and corporations, so you may understand better the landscape in the industry. So with the startups, the really cool thing is that you have a huge freedom, and you know, there are not many tested processes. So in many cases, you're actually able to experiment a lot. You can also, you know, have the diversified responsibilities, wear many hats at the same time, and grow together with the company. So the processes are more agile, the decision span is way shorter, and you can actually, you know, test, iterate, test again. But the biggest challenges once working in startup, and that's something you should take under consideration, because maybe you want to, you know, be focused on one particular area of marketing, maybe branding, maybe communication, maybe PR. Well, that's something that is not always possible in smaller structure, because having less people means that you need to be responsible for more things. So once working in a startup, you might wear many hats, which can serve as a pro, but it can also be a con, because in the same time, you might have to be responsible for company, product, and employers' branding. You may have to focus on branding, communication, and PR. So, you know, you're touching on many things, but you can't like be focused from the day one on only one sector. So that's something you should consider once thinking about your role. And it's also a challenge. It's a fun, but also a challenge to design the campaigns with almost zero budget. So let's say that you were working in the massive marketing agency before, and now you're working in, you want to apply to start working in the smaller gaming startup. Well, you might have a hard time understanding that the budgets are small or close to zero. So that's something you need to be open for as well. And also identify new communication channels. So that's something that actually applies for both startups and corporations roles, that you should actually be super vigilant and, you know, look for the new communication channels and be authentic on them. And there's you know, like very often in startups, the marketing team is you and your alter ego, and maybe someone who is actually, you know, jumping occasionally from different departments. It's very hectic sometimes. But the best learnings from my experience is that you shouldn't be afraid of testing things, discuss, admit that you have some limits and may not know everything. Brainstorm with the people from different departments, because in startup is very blended who is responsible for what, and sometimes, you know, people just fluctuate from one area to the other. You should be brave and search for boldness, because there is very often no brand to back you up, right? You're working for something small, so what does it mean? It means that you need to go through the clutter of many similar companies, and that can be a challenge. And make sure you document your job, so you don't have to start from scratch each time. And the thing is that nobody will do that for you, because in the bigger structures, you might have someone who will remember about, uploading the documents, or it might be required top down from the company that you document your work. But once you're working in the small structure, it can be easy to forget that some templates might be used several times. So yeah, just, in the end, be creative, because coolest projects don't have to cost a lot. One of the, my personal examples is that we've developed the escape room for movie games, where we bought all the stuff in thrift shops, and it was quite funny, but it cost close to nothing, and it turned into be a huge success on one of the industry events. And once you're working for the corporation, you should actually focus on working with people you can learn from. So it's like you are in the big structure, and that's the benefit of working in the company that actually is big, that you have people to look to learn from, and test processes, so you can implement them, improve, and there is the batch of processes that you can use, and you can leverage them. And there is also the thing of the established brand that I've mentioned to back your actions, because it's not always it's not always really easy to do once you're at the startup. You have to go through this whole clutter of communication, and with the corporate it can be a bit easier. So it's a great playground to learn. And the biggest challenges, from my perspective, is the lengthy processes that often don't, catch up with the gaming world pace. It can be sometimes challenging to do something, some RTMs, real-time marketing, once you're in the big structure. But there is your role as well to actually help developing the solutions that will enable the quicker communication. And there are many stakeholders involved often. So you need to, you're working, for example, in the communication department, but you need to align with the branding department, with the PR department, the product department. So there are many people to sign you off on the way to developing your project. And there is always, there's quite often quite big pressure for timely results. It can be also in startups, but startups, very often they develop the project. So there are not that strict quarter deadlines for what you're doing. But the best learning is to start with the entry level role and progress. I've mentioned here McDonald's, because you might know or don't know that in McDonald's, if you want to be quite often, if you want to be the manager of the restaurant, you actually have to start from the cashier role, so you understand all the way to the top. And I found it equally beneficial to do that in other industries as well. And dream big, but implement bigger. It can actually apply to both roles, and maybe not just to the marketing roles. So no matter how great the idea, it's actually something that Elisa and Marta said. Learn how to plan and execute, because that's super crucial. So yeah, in the end, believe in yourself, admit that you don't know everything, and develop skills and get knowledge that will change that. And essentially just have fun, because that's what games are about, and that's what you should feel once you decide to work in the gaming industry. So yeah, you can reach me on Twitter if you have any ideas for the guest podcasts, or you'd like to feedback me or what I'm doing. You can also find me on the Instagram for the updates about the podcasts and the cool project we're working on. And on Facebook at It's for Game for the industry news, reports, and the broader view on the industry from the female perspective. And with literally everything, you can also reach me via email. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation.